I say that with such gratitude and such humbleness because there are individuals in here like Mike who have paved the way for us to do what we need to do. So thank you to you and all the folks that came before us to make this happen. So happy to see Michelle Tuggle here. Thank you for being here. The Chamber is here representing. We have Yvonne from the Chamber, Sandy, Dawn, so many great, amazing people. I'm going to introduce us to our welcoming and then we'll get this party started. So, please welcome, should I get my radio voice? Please welcome Melissa Johnson. Melissa is a deeply woven into our Auburn's business community. She serves on the Chamber Board, the Planning Commission, and the Economic Development Commission, giving her a unique vantage point on how the city grows. She's often the connector behind the scenes, linking local businesses with the resources and relationships they need to thrive. Beyond business, Melissa has been a part of the endurance running community for 2 decades, a passion that's run alongside her career every step of the way. Please join me in welcoming Miss Melissa Johnson.
Thank you. So good to see everybody here. It's kind of, it's very exciting. I'm going to start this out. First off, thank you. I'm honored to be here for trusting me. It's always kind of a risk when somebody gives me a microphone. Just kidding. Kidding, Jonathan. Don't stress. Thank you for being here. Everybody's so busy, especially being business owners. You know, you're working long days and you're probably sitting here thinking about all the things that you should be doing instead of sitting here. So thanks for being here. I want to say special thanks to McGuire Sports Bar and Grill and Auburn Symphony for providing the food and the music. Super nice. I don't know if everybody's town hall has ambiance and food. Taco Tuesday at the town hall. Hope everyone got their tacos. So why we're here tonight? We're here to learn and hear directly from business owners and to share what we know. Hopefully you walk out this door a little bit more inspired and maybe feeling a little bit less alone, maybe a little more skip in your step. And knowing that you've got people around you that are here to provide resources and support, maybe more than you thought prior. So that's me. I've already heard. Okay. So welcome to Mile 99. Those of you are like, oh great, another running story from another running. Oh my God, can we ever talk about anything outside of Gold Rush, running, or horses? No. So Mile 99 and the Western States 100, I'm just going to tell you real quickly. It's been around for 50 years. It's one of the most prestigious 100-mile races in the world. They call it the Boston Marathon of 100-mile races. There are 369 spots in the race, and over 10,000 people apply to try to get into this thing. People will try to qualify year over year, and they all covet or claw after 369 spots. You go from Olympic Valley up in Palisades, and they run on the Western States Trail and finish here in Auburn at the Placer High School track. Mile 99 is where I get to live, where I got to raise my kids, and where the start of this story that I'm about to tell you takes place. So at the Western States 100, they're with the 369 spots that they have to run, which is limited because of the Granite Chief Wilderness, and they protect it, and they don't want thousands of people stampeding through that beautiful place. You have 30 hours to finish. They start at 5 a.m. on Saturday morning. They have until Sunday at 11 a.m. to finish. 30 hours, not 30 hours in 1 second, not 30 hours, 30 hours. There was a blind guy a few years ago, yes, legally blind, that finished 30 seconds over, did not get his buckle, okay? Hard 30. We call it the golden hour. If you've never been to the Placer High track on the 4th weekend of June on Sunday, I challenge you all to go and check it out. It's one of the most inspiring things you'll ever see. It's the last hour, and it is more attended than it is when the winners cross that line, because you can kind of relate to that last hour. And in this particular year that I'm going to tell you about, there was a 70-year-old woman who was running the race. And she comes up mile 99, and I live at mile 99. Give it a second. Have some patience. which I do not have. Thank you. Okay. So coming up mile 99, we're sitting there, and you can see me, Rob Krar, who won that year. He's in flip-flops the next morning waiting for people to come up. You see Marcus, my other half, who's here, who's also in flip-flops, I might note. Gunhild, which is the name of the 70-year-old woman, and the pacer. Now, pacer are people that run with you to make sure it's their safety runner, to make sure that, hey, you're good to go. They kind of think for you, help you along the way. They cannot mule or physically help you, but they can make sure you don't run off a cliff and that you're not delirious and that kind of thing. And you have a crew. They have people that can follow you along at certain aid stations, and they help you. They can bring you shoes. They can bring you backup things. They can talk you off a ledge. They can tell you to keep going even when you beg them to let you stop, okay? That they help you move you along the way. So we're sitting at mile 99. Rob Carr's sitting there, and Tim Tweetmeyer comes running up the mile 99 because he is, if you don't know, he's a local Auburnite. He has finished Western States 25 times in under 24 hours. He's a local legend. He's amazing. He goes out and runs these last people in because they are the ones you want to get in. They've been going since 5 a.m. They've been out there the longest. They're the ones that are chasing the clock, and they're coming up from No Hands Bridge, and it's hotter in Hades the next day. And he's like, comes up, and he's like, MJ, they're coming. She's coming. I'm like, is she going to make it? We don't know. And as she comes running up, more people collect. And Rob Carr goes up to her, and he's famous for saying this, and he's like, hey, you mind if I run with you? And she's like, sure, right? And so she's got her crew, and she picks up this entourage, and we're all running with her, and she's got a mile. She's got a mile, and we're watching the clock. And she's running like a gazelle. Her legs are moving, and we're running next to her. Come on, Gunhild. Come on, Gunhild. And tears are forming because it's incredible. You want her to make it so bad, and as she runs through the neighborhood, she picks up more people, and we're beelining because she has no time. Like, there's no going wide. It's beeline, like you're going from point A to B. We come up around Cherry Street Bridge, the famous bridge. It really is all downhill from there, okay? It is. And that's right there on top of Finley, and you can hear the high school yelling because they know she's coming too, and they're watching the clock. And we're yelling at her, come on, and her legs are moving. Mind you, she's 70 years old. We come around the corner. I'm super emotional, like I am now. And just when you think you can't take it anymore, a 15-year-old kid wearing the matching shirt, because your crews wear the matching Flora, green shirt, he comes around the corner and he goes, come on, Grandma. And you're like, you're killing me. You're already emotional. You got, come on, Grandma, coming around the corner. Eyes, you're crying. Is she going to make it? Is she going to make it? Everybody's yelling with her. 70 years old, 100 miles, Olympic Valley to Auburn, and she crosses the finish line with 6 seconds to spare. And I'll tell you, it's the best thing I've personally ever seen in sports because it's something that it makes you think things are possible. It makes you feel like you can do something more. And I promise you, when Gunhild finished or crossed that finish line, we all crossed that finish line. You were hugging people next to you didn't even know. You would have thought we were all ran the whole thing because it was relatable and we were rooting for her. So you might think that when you see this, that this finish is about toughness. And it is. But I believe that the story is about something else. It's a story about crew, it's a story about pacers, and it's a story about volunteers. There are 369 runners, but over 1,200 volunteers. That's not including your crew, your pacer, your spectators. All of those people are committed to make sure that every single one of those runners cross the finish line. We will work on blisters. We'll rub chafing stuff we shouldn't rub. I mean, we'll do it all because we want you to get to that finish line. And I would say that one of the reasons why you're here today and what we want you to know as the EDC is that as a business owner in Auburn, you're not alone. Just like the runners, yes, Gunhild is out there running, but I promise you, if she didn't have her crew and she didn't have her pacers and she didn't have the volunteers, those 6 seconds would have been 60. She would have not made it. And you as a business owner are in that same predicament where sometimes you feel like you're alone, you're isolated, and that you're out there by yourself. But in Auburn and in this community, just like our endurance world, you're not alone. And we're here to tell you and show you why and give you some resources that maybe when you leave here today, you'll feel a little bit more inspired. Why cannot Auburn be the best, most active commerce, business, amazingness in California and Northern California? We know how special we are. We just need other people to find us. So yeah, she ran every mile. And like you guys, you do every payroll. She accepts the physical risk. You guys accept the financial risk. But she didn't do it alone, and you guys don't have to build it alone either. So right now, I want you guys to physically look around you. Don't go, oh yeah, no. Physically, look around you, okay? Look behind you, make eye connection. This is your crew. This is your crew. These are your people. Thank you for playing along. And what does your crew look like? You guys are having too much fun at this town hall. So when I first did Leadership Auburn, it was interesting. I had not seen a map like this physical of Auburn. It's just interesting if you've not seen it before. We're kind of small as the physical, as the real estate is. 7.18 square miles. For those of you that don't know, we have an island out there, the Auburn Municipal Airport, where Knee Deep and other breweries are, industrial area. And even though you drive through the county, it is important that you remember that you do have other teammates and crew members out on that island. What I want you to take away from all this numbers and garbity gloop is really that we're not a coal mining town. We don't have an industry. We're not dependent on one industry. We're not dependent on one business. And what's super cool about this is that even if you think that you're in a niche by yourself, you're not. There's somebody in the city that's doing what you're doing, facing the same challenges that you're facing, and probably having some of the same stresses, and you're not alone. Again, showing you that we really do have businesses that can relate, support, and help each other. I think it's kind of interesting. We really are a dynamic community for the size that we are. So Gunhild had 6 seconds to spare, and it took grit, but it took a community running next to her, clearing the path, and refusing to not let her stop. So when our local businesses face these kinds of challenges, how do we show up for them? How are we showing up for each other? And there's a few things that we can do. It doesn't have to be rocket science. You don't have to solve everybody's problems. Think shop local first. We did this in our very first town hall where we really tried to hit home the power of the dollar. No offense to the people in the county, but Target and Home Depot didn't help pay for the 4th of July parade. Now, they're not in the city, that's true. But we should be conscientious maybe a little bit about how we spend our money. If we're buying our summer dress, get it at Sky's Boutique. No offense, Target. Strengthen business-to-business support. That could be as simple as leaving a 5-star review. We are all business owners. So we all need those reviews. We all attend local businesses. Take some time, leave a review. Be specific. What kind of service? What kind of motor did they provide to you? What kind of specific drink? Be very specific so that the robots can find us. Because one of the things that makes Auburn super unique is we have Highway 49 and we have 80 that go through. We have a lot of passing people, and we have a bigger pool, a bigger water source to fish from, right? It's not like we're sitting up away in Nevada City, no offense, or somewhere where we don't have these major interstates that are coming through our city. Are people finding Auburn businesses? Combine forces to meet local needs, collaboration, like what we're doing here. I'm just a business owner volunteering and helping. So the goals stay the same: who you are, your niche, your uniqueness. Even as the robots try to come in and take over, they're stupid. It's all plagiarism. What makes you unique is that you are unique. You are the one that makes that business special. So things are going to change. You're going to have variables. It could rain, it could get hot, that mountain sucks, the terrain's terrible, you know, but you got to adapt. And those are one of the things that we can help. And this is what we're going to do by talking, is how can I adapt? What are my tools to adapt? Where can I find resources to adapt? And we're going to talk about that and share that today. So the goals stay the same, conditions change. You used to have yellow pages, or you would Google and you got like 20 blue links and you got to pick which one you wanted. That's all gone. People have conversations. You guys can see this on the screen, all the different places and the way people search and find your business. Again, we want to be a resource to be able to help you do that. So I'm going to go through now some of those resources because we're trying to be your crew here today. And this is going to be some of them. You can take your phones out and start taking pictures. I'm going to go through these slides pretty quickly so that we can start hearing from other people. But this is a class that I'm teaching. It'll be the third time I've taught the class. It's about optimizing your Google business profile, doing all the free things that you can do before you pay for something fancy that's not going to help you anyway. So you can see the times on there. I try to keep it simple so that you walk away with real tools that day, things that you can do, and it's been pretty well received. This is another, we're going to go through, there's going to be about 4 of these slides. So these are just different resources in your crew. If you haven't thought about it, it could seem fairly obvious to you. I see a typo. It's okay. It's just a bullet point. But you have your Economic Development Commission, your Auburn Chamber, your Downtown Business Association, your Old Town Business Association, the 49 Corridor. Sorry, that's not listed because I know it's important. There's a lot of areas and places of support where you think that your input won't be needed or that it's not helpful, and these organizations really are, and they need you. They need your input. Here's another thing you can take a picture of. We had some formatting issues right before, so sorry that it's kind of kilter. But these are direct contacts and agencies, business advising, training, and certification, different resources. These are real emails. If you get a bounce, these positions do exist, and so you should be able to contact. Oops, sorry, went the wrong way. Capital bonding and banking here. Sorry that the slides messed up. We had some formatting issues right when we were trying to load, technical difficulties. We will send this out afterwards so that you can actually read it, but this was designed for you to have contacts and direct email communications. Agency, small business, DVB, BE advocates. So every public agency below is a person whose job it is to help small, disabled, veteran, and local businesses win their contracts for local bids. So if you happen to be in this business, and again, I apologize that you can't read it, these are direct contacts. They are an actual position, so if the person is gone, the position actually exists. So if you're interested in maybe getting information about local contracts, making money that way, it's another resource. Doing more direct oops, sorry, I went the wrong way. So, the Greater Auburn Collective. This is a new thing, another crew member here. So, the Greater Auburn Collective is a new organization, nonprofit, that under the leadership of Jay Ross and some other local entrepreneurs. If you scan that QR code, it will take you to the website. These are our dates to remember. We're going to have a launch August 18th. What is entrepreneurship? October 15th, meet and greet. December 15th, our entrepreneurship and cohort applications are due. And then January 2nd, we will launch the program. And we're going to do it for free. We're working with 12 businesses, J. Ross, to start. 12 businesses for free. And we want to help your business pitch to either other investors or to be ready for plans. So spread the word if you have amazing ideas and join us on the 18th. So enough of me blabbing. We're going to start hearing from other people. But really what I want you to take away from, if you don't know, is that you do have those resources, that the EDC and the Chamber and the other organizations were really fired up to help business be successful in Auburn. Tonight's business, we have 4 local business owners, and Natalie's going to be introducing them here next. You guys are going to be asking questions, and we're going to be having some interactive fun, and we really want to encourage everybody to really get involved. The more that you give input, you're probably, if you're thinking or asking the question, guaranteed somebody else is too. So please speak up. We don't want to be the only ones talking. So that being said, I'd like to introduce Natalie Otis, who is our local owner of Auburn Gymnastics, and is also one of my cohorts on the EDC, and she's going to be helping to facilitate and introduce our next 4 people. Thank you.
Everybody. Is this working? Yeah. How's it going? Did it feel like a party when you guys came? That was the goal. We wanted it to feel like you were coming to a party. I'm so grateful that J. Ross texted me and asked me to be a part of the Economic Development Commission. We had a walk, and she heard me say, yeah, I'm looking for ways to get involved, and the next time something came up, she thought of me. So thank you very much. I'm just like you. I'm just somebody in the business community. I've been here forever. Since 2008, we bought Auburn Gymnastics, and we now have like 5 locations. And I'm just here in service to other people who need to walk where I've already sort of created a path. And I'm doing it, but all of these people on our panel are doing it at a really high level as well. I know that every single one of these, because I've talked to them, are willing to help people, are willing to dive in and willing to give support, and their knowledge is fantastic. So I'm going to give brief descriptions, even though what they've done could fill up some pages. I'm going to limit it. We've got Reese, give a wave. Reese is with Old Town Pizza. Shocking. Okay, a longtime Auburn resident and co-owner of Old Town Pizza with locations in Auburn, Lincoln, and Roseville, along with Slice Beer Co. Well done. His career started at Hewlett-Packard, which brought him to Auburn in 1983. In 2002, he bought Old Town Pizza. Since then, he's served on the Auburn Chamber, the Economic Development Commission, and now the Auburn State Theater Board. A little known fact about him is, as a young man, he actually dreamed of playing professional basketball. You can still do it, Reese. Any other basketball? I think I've talked to, yeah, right here. Okay, so next up, we have Dimitri. Give a wave. This guy owns 3 businesses in Auburn. Surge Supply, Rigwell, and Placer Innovation, running 6 years, and serves on, with myself and the other crew, on the Economic Development Commission. A fun fact, he was born in the Ukraine. Well, there we go. All right, we've got Heather here, a friend, and she is the CEO of Dutch Brothers Gold Country. A Placer County native, Heather opened her first Dutch Bros in Auburn back in 2009, starting with 1 shop and 15 employees. 18 years later, she owns 8 locations. Bet you guys didn't know that. And employs over 200 broistas. Is that right? Yeah? I didn't know that they were called that. Heather is a hands-on leader who built her business around people, investing in her team's growth and giving back to her community through scholarships and support for under-invested youth. Fun fact, Heather was a Dutch Bro customer back in the early 2000s, a diehard fan long before she owned a shop. And in 2009, she turned that coffee habit into her first franchise, a total fan-to-founder story. We have Ken. He owns 8 businesses across healthcare and hospitality in Northern California, a pediatric hospital, pediatric subacute facility, pediatric day health center, and 10-location radiology group, a medical device company, a healthcare management service organization, plus 2 restaurants, and 2 restaurants, one including a sports bar. One of the restaurants is the Tin Lantern that's up in Meadow Vista, and McGuire's Sports Bar and Grill, who provided the lovely tacos that you were eating this evening. Just as a personal note, this entire taco situation was a text message that said, hey, would you be willing to support this? And the answer was yes. And I just love that, right? You know, how can I help? How can I be in service? Everybody here would answer yes. How do you guys want us to help out? And we love that. Okay, so here's how this is, and I love the pictures too. Here's how this is gonna work. We have some questions that we've already pre-curated for you. And we want you guys to get out your phones, and there's QR codes and whatnot here, because we're gonna ask the panelists questions, but we're also looking for you guys to answer some of those, because we know that we have quality people here, but we also have you guys, which are quality people as well. So we want to involve you guys, but we also want to hear from our panelists. The conversation will be that we ask the question. I'm going to give the microphone to whomever flags me down first, and then if you want to add something or say something, you guys would just pass the microphone down to whoever wants to add to that. Does that seem like we all know what's going on? I need nodding of heads. Oh, they're on their phones. You guys can't nod to me. Oh. No idea.
We're tracking you. Just kidding. Kidding. Probably not funny.
We know. We're coming. Yes, shout out to Jonathan.
He's been IT today.
Yeah, among other talents. Okay, so I'm going to get started while you guys are getting that figured out with the first question. And what makes having a business in Auburn different from having a business anywhere else? What motivated you to start a business here in Auburn? So then I'm going to march up here for the panel.
What motivated me to do McGuire's Sports Bar and Grills? Love Auburn. It has a great community vibe, and it's just a great sense of community. All the open outdoor events that they have in small old uptown, downtown. But it's just a great place to thrive and live, and my wife and I have been here for 30 years.
Well, what motivated me to start a business in Auburn was that it was my hometown, and I always wanted to come home and have a business here, which back in the day it was hard as a young person because housing, and still is hard, housing's expensive. And so, I mean, I have businesses in other cities. What makes business in Auburn different? I mean, for me, it's just so special because they're my neighbors, they're my friends, they're people I've grown up with, they're my parents' friends, they're, you know, like Auburn is super special, and to be someone that was born and raised here and have the opportunity to own a business here, I mean, it's just super special. And the ability to give back to my high school and to help organizations that impacted me when I was young is very special.
I actually got tricked into coming to Auburn by an Auburnite sitting in the front row there. We were in business in mostly Roseville and Rockland. I'd been trying to get a business to work for many years, and it's always just been a slog on my own. And then an Auburnite fooled us into moving here, and we were shocked to see that everybody we met wanted us to succeed. The first 3 people I'd met in Auburn once we moved all took me to all of their favorite spots and kind of immersed us in the culture. So I'd say of all the places that we've been, whether you consent to it or not, people want you to do well here, and that's what makes it special for us, at least.
I always wanted to live in Auburn. As a kid, my family would drive from San Jose to either Reno or Tahoe. We'd stop in Auburn. And as a young kid, I just loved it. And we would stop, and then we'd have to get back in the car to go on our way to where we were headed, and I didn't want to go. And I think the reason that Auburn is special to me now is because it's relatively small but plays so big. It has huge influence. And I can't think of another town in the entire country that has what Auburn has to offer. You know, things from the historic theater, the symphony, an airport, historic districts, trails, schools, arts, recreation, strong nonprofit community. Everybody wants to help everybody, and it's a little bit different in other communities where not worse, it's just different. And Auburn is very special. And being able to own a company in the town that I live is pretty
I do want to point out one of the answers from the audience. Its own demographic makes it different. Auburn needs an escape room. Where's our escape room person? I just have to highlight that you have the best marketing on the planet. If you walked in here, yeah, let's hear it. I have to take the opportunity. So I got one of these. And did you guys all get one of these? This is brilliant. We've all been invited to keep the party going tonight. We could go over and storm the castle if we wanted to. But this is beautiful, and we've all been invited to come to a brainstorming Auburn's treasure hunt, Tuesday, August 25th at 6 p.m. But Auburn needs more entertainment, you know, just being motivated by looking around the community and meeting a need, seeing a need that's not met. And what I'm hearing from that answer is what's motivating me to do this is I look around and see a need, and I'm going to meet that need and try to create an enterprise and make a living from that. So well done, and shout out to the escape room. Okay, so the next question. How has the community shaped the way you do business? Please share specific examples of what you've learned about doing business in Auburn. I'm actually going to take that one and answer it really quick. Auburn's community, I have Auburn Gymnastics Center, so the community that I'm with are the little tykes of the world. I've got the people's children. And it's so special, too, because this is a town where people want to raise kids. I joke that it's like being on the set of a Hallmark movie. At most of our events, you're looking around waiting for the film crew to show up because, you know, we have the Harvest Festival and people are carving pumpkins and doing, you know, baking contests, and you just they're weighing things, and it just feels so wholesome and beautiful. And that shapes the way, because I know that this is a community that enjoys knowing that their kids have like wholesome places to go to. So just looking around and meeting that need that I saw in the community, I wanted to raise my kids here, and so being able to create places where that was happening was important to me. That said, does the panel want to jump in and give some feedback on that? You can answer it, or if you don't want to, you can pass the mic down to someone else.
I have something to say.
Okay.
I think I started with Hewlett-Packard Company and was an employee there for 25 years, and they had a great culture. Really felt like I was appreciated as an employee and a contributor. And they encouraged us to participate outside of the workplace. And so when I and my family acquired Old Town Pizza, we were within weeks encouraged by people in Old Town like Linda Robinson and Tyro and others to just get involved. Don't open your business, operate and then close your business and go home. Get involved in the community. And it became our entire social life. The chamber was phenomenal. I think, that this is not an exaggeration, but I think somehow through the chamber, everybody that we do business with, business to business, was a result of a chamber connection. Just fantastic. And I think in the other two communities that we have Old Town Pizzas in, they're trying to do that. They're a little bit bigger, and somehow Auburn's figured it out. At least for us, it's figured it out. And so the more you participate, the more you get out.
I will piggyback and copy. I'll plagiarize everything he just said. That is wonderful. Absolutely. Yeah, the more you participate, the more you get out of it. I mentioned earlier I've been tricked in coming to Auburn, so I had a blank slate. I'd spent most of my life in Roseville, Rockland. And as a business owner, the thing that I've always struggled the most with is trying to build a culture where people like to work there and want to stay, and I attract the right kind of talent. And I will say one of the best things that Auburn gave me and my company was the foundation for how to build a healthy company culture. And that culture that we'd received from folks in this area is that they just give infinitely. And it's sort of molded. We're an e-commerce website, by the way, guys. We ship our products across the country. We don't do as much in-house, but we've changed our culture outward-facing to give the knowledge we're learning as van builders, as cabinet makers, for free to the world. And it has, in turn, benefited our business, and it's become a focal point for us. And it's just something we've learned here, again, whether or not we wanted to. It's something we've just observed that's been working very well here in Auburn, and it's definitely shaped the way we do business. Auburn's having a big impact all over the country through the internet, through the robots, as you might say.
Reese, I thought about Ty Road today too, preparing for this. I think as someone in the community that has employed a lot of people, I think the biggest thing I've learned is the importance of how we do that and how that shapes our community. I don't even know how many people I've employed, but young people to old people. I have many professional jobs at this point. But there's such a responsibility in how we do things, especially in a small town, because they see me at OTP when I'm there. They see me around. And so I like that accountability as a business owner. And I know some of their parents. Now I'm employing my friends' kids, stuff like that. But I think what I've learned is just so much about just integrity and how you do some things as a business owner is how you do everything. And I think how we treat people and even like Reese said, even if it's in the community, how we invest our time. And for me, how I invest my time in my employees. I have employees that have now started new businesses in Auburn, and so it's just such a special, for me, just employing, and I know Reese does too. A lot of us do, but for me, I feel that the weight of how I treat my employees, and also just what a blessing it is when you do it right and you do it well. Their parents come and tell you, you've changed my kid's life. I've seen it change my own kids' lives by being in a healthy, thriving work environment and teaching young people what it looks like to be a beautiful human. I just think it's so important, and I love that I can't hide out. Even though I have businesses in Rockland, Lincoln, even social media. People can find me, people can tell me what they think about me, but I think I sleep pretty well at night at this point, knowing that I'm really proud of the investments I've made in my people and seeing how it's propelled those individuals forward, and even if they're moms or business owners. But it's just fun, and I love that I live and work in the same town, and I get to be an example to my employees now at this point of giving back and stuff like that. So.
I would say if you're not letting the community shape your business, you're probably not going to be in business very long. And what I mean is loyalty. This town, the Tin Lantern, as an example, has a tremendous loyal following. If you walk into Tin Lantern most days at 3 o'clock, the bar's already full. Engage is calling your name when you walk through the door and ask you if you want your specific drink. And you can go into small business and think you have the idea of how things should go, but you really need, you're in business to serve others. And so a lot of people don't really embrace that, but loyalty is king here. And if you let your customers guide, kind of give you feedback and listen to what they have to say. I used to teach classes at the Graduate School of Management. I used to tell people, some of the people in the classes, that the problems with companies are in the hearts and minds of the employees. Where leaders fail is to draw those ideas out and secondarily implement them. So no person is unimportant in your organization, and feedback comes in all shapes and forms and sizes. Some good, some not good. Yeah, you really have to listen to the people and give them what they want. McGuire's, you know, if I overestimated anything, it's the number of pure sports fans in Auburn. If McGuire's was in Roseville or Sacramento, it'd be packed 7 days a week. We don't have that. We're you know, people are driving through. So we're forced to be all things to all people. We have line dancing. We have music on certain nights. We have trivia night. We have cornhole tournaments. In October, we're having a huge, we're taking the entire parking lot and having the NFL Players Association with 4 superstars signing autographs and watching both the Niners game and the Raiders game out in the parking lot. So just trying to, you know, innovate and kind of keep things interesting and be top of mind is critical in the social media world that we live in.
Yeah, I agree. Innovation is key. I'm going to read a couple of the ones up on the screen, if you guys will indulge. I like this one. I'm a new business owner and have learned so much by going to the Old Town Business Association meetings. Jessica, yay, and the president and Jonathan from the city, shout out to Jonathan, have been very helpful. Mimi at the Silver Shop has helped me so much also. Thank you all. And I also read multiple ones, and they're kind of off the screen now, about relationship building. And you heard it from our panel as well. So you have to just really marinate in that relationships are everything. And that does mean getting out. That does mean going to things like this. That does mean engaging with your chamber. That does mean going to community events and kind of pushing yourself to get out, get yourself known, because this community is going to be really loyal to you if they know you. So that's what I'm really hearing. Okay, so thank you, panel, for that. We're going to move on to the next question. You guys feeling good? Everybody, I'm taking the pulse. I got people nodding their head. Do we need to get up and do like a samba? No. Okay. Just asking. I'm the gymnastics person, so we could have an activity hour. Okay. What are some of the challenges and failures you've experienced as an entrepreneur and a small business owner? We're looking for those challenges. Yeah, here we go. Get out the list.
I got a good one.
Okay.
Talking to small business or business owners in general, you always hear, for the most part, they want to share the excitement, the successes. It's like, you know, somebody who trades in the stock market. They're never going to tell you the money they lost on a stock. They're always telling you about what they made. My first business, I couldn't send $180,000 down the toilet fast enough, okay? I started a healthcare staffing company, and I didn't do any of my research. I didn't pick the right leaders, and it folded in a year. But from that, I learned a lot about, you know, understanding the business, being passionate about what you get. I had no passion. My business partner and I literally for a year sat in chairs, watched streamed media, and drank Patron margaritas for almost a year. And it was surreal. But from that came a lot of knowledge on what not to do, what to do. And so when we start a business or I buy a business, I'm always looking for a champion because I realize I can't run all the businesses. So the champion is something that I've learned to instill in every company I get in. And that was the failure of the first one. We had no champion.
Well, I don't know how much time we have here, but number one. Number one, I don't believe in the word failure. I think the only failure is not trying. And that's the number one advice I give to anyone. I just told someone that a couple weeks ago that I was meeting with. I think too many people are afraid to try. Like, they're afraid to fail. And I think all my failures learning. Like, I've learned really, really, really hard stuff. I've failed a lot. I've made a ton of mistakes. And it's shaped me into the person I am today. So I'm not, I don't begrudge any of it. Some of my challenges, some of my hardest lessons learned, I think too, the ones that sting the most are relationally, you know, like wishing I would have handled things different earlier on. And I mean, I've had financial failures. I've, you know, that have cost me hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, thousands of dollars. But it's what's shaped me, and it's what I've learned from. So I don't know. I've had a lot of challenges, a lot of failures. I mean, COVID. I mean, everything I was preparing, like thinking about the hardest times. And I mean, COVID's what brought me to going to therapy so I could continue to function as a human. And I think too, like something I've learned, I don't know if that's one of the different questions, but through my failures is, again, like the leader, we're all leaders, we're all business owners, but we're never going to outrun who we are as a human. And so the importance of investing in yourself, getting the help you need when you need it. Like there have been very specific times I had to stop and get help. Like, I mean, to even be able to function as a mom, a business owner, and all those things. And so, again, it's learning. As long as these things, the challenges are pushing us towards learning, I don't see it as failure. So there's some things I only tell close friends, but yeah, a lot of failures, and I think it's prepared me to run the business that I have today. I always tell people, young people, like fail while the stakes are lower. You know, now where my business is now, like my stakes are super high. And so I'm glad I learned some of these lessons when the stakes were a lot lower.
Like that. We like to call failures tuition payments, because it is, I dropped out of junior college. This is my education here. It's often expensive, probably more expensive sometimes. This one I had to think about for a long time. This is a hard question for me to answer, but I could sum up most of my failures in the last few years as being complacency, procrastination, or tunnel vision when I could have been proactive in preventing a failure from happening. And oftentimes the solution to most of our problems or failures are just one phone call or one lunch away, especially with people in this community who've been through it many times before me. Again, hindsight is always 20/20, but the failure to take action and just be paralyzed by a situation instead of getting help oftentimes is the root of my own shortcomings.
This was a question near and dear to my heart. I think that challenges or failures, if you want to use that word, come when the people you're working with, whether they're in your company or there's someone outside your company you're working with, like a landlord or suppliers or whatever's involved in making your company successful, it's team, right? We all have to work together and take care of each other. And when alignment, when we go out of alignment, any of those relationships and connections, it creates tension and stress. Sometimes there's even integrity issues. The one that in the 24 years that I've been involved with Old Town Pizza, one particular one hurt the worst. A lot of people in this room know about it. It was during COVID, we decided to create an Old Town Pizza pavilion at the Gold Country Fairgrounds. And we invested a lot of time and energy and money because we believed it could be something incredibly special. We thought the fairgrounds needed it. They thought they needed it. We needed it because we needed an outdoor dining space and didn't have one. And they needed it because nobody was going to the fairgrounds and having a good time. And we were all on the same page until we weren't. And then once we weren't on the same page, it became obvious that we needed to part ways. And you can look at that as a failure, I guess, but we basically just figured out a way to part ways where they were happy and we were happy, and we moved on. And then we just figured out how to create different relationships and start new ventures. And that's the fun part, right? Is how many people can you get on the same page, rowing in the same direction for the same goal? And the larger you get, the harder it is. You know, when we bought Old Town Pizza, there were 25 of us, and now there's 250 of us. And so trying to herd 250 cats is harder than 25. But it's worth it. You know, it's worth every minute. And the satisfaction when it's all clicking and the stars are aligning and the dots are all connected is pretty amazing feeling.
I just want to add one thing that I wrote down is I think every challenge that again, just every challenge that I can see, I just see the importance of community. I think for me, I can see when things were super hard or different times, it's so easy to isolate. And when I was starting, I literally knew, I mean, one of the people in the audience that I knew that was a female business owner. I mean, I didn't know very many. And who's juggling all the things, being a wife, a mom, a this, a that, everything. And I know men, I don't know if it's the same, but there wasn't a lot of community. And so with a lot of the challenges, I just want to encourage everyone, like, it's so important to have people you can talk to. Like, there's people like Reese, I mean, he has a very similar business, but I look up to him a lot. Like, you've got to have people you can reach out, be honest with, talk money with. Like, community is so important. I think isolation is, you're finding yourself in that place. It's just so important to find.
I was trying to find on my phone really quickly. I used to listen to that song that said, you know, I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I used to listen to that in the car on the way home after a hard night. I have no idea what year that song came out. But that was my best friend because, man, there were some hard days where you're just like, yeah, I'm going to get up. And you guys, obviously, every person demonstrated that, like, you're going to get knocked down and you're going to get up again, just like the story, right? You're running, right? And there's going to be people that could come alongside you. Every person here, if you reached out and said, I need to go to a boss lunch with you, you come, get your notepad, get 20 to 30 questions that you want them to tell you the answer to, and get the answers. Make those relationships. You have the mentors available to you, right? If you get knocked down, someone's going to come alongside you to be like, yeah, this is short term. And you just learned something that's going to help you grow, or it's going to change your life. And you don't have all the answers, but you got to have the energy to, like, go again. So I just got inspired listening to, and it's crazy because I so relate to these moments where we all just sort of have, like, the wind taken out of us. Okay, are we ready for the next question? Drum roll. What tools and habits have helped you grow your business? And just to reiterate, the audience, we need your participation. Everything that you're responding to, our little group that meets once a month is going to go and really pour through this because we want to be in service to you. So we need your endurance through these questions. Keep answering. But for right now, I'm going to turn to the panel. And what tools and habits have helped you grow your business?
I would say that both of these habits or behaviors were consistent in my corporate career along with businesses. But leading by example, you know, you have to lead by example. You can't be, as the owner, you can't be too good to perform a job. So when McGuire's opened up, my employees saw me bussing tables. I want them to see me doing those things. And I'd have managers going, look, the owner's over there bussing tables, get over there. But I want them to see me working because I got here because I worked hard. And so it's important for them to see that and know that I don't think I'm beyond something like that. The other thing that's been very successful for me is putting the interests of others in front of my own. Let me say that again. Putting others' interests in front of my own. That's such a hard thing to do in corporate America or when you're business because you're doing well, but man, it pays off in dividends, whether it's giving away. I've owned the Tin Lantern since 22, so that's 4 years. And I've owned McGuire's for coming up on 2 years. I haven't taken one penny out of either of those companies. I continue to build on and reinvest, invest in my people, and they see it. So those are two traits that to me are critical to be successful no matter what you do.
I think just super practically to be able to grow, like to go from I didn't have money, like I relied on SBA loans, I had to save, get my 20%, all that stuff. And to be able to do that, you have to be able to save money. You have to be able to live within your means. You have to be frugal. I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore. I mean, I still do kind of, but I'm glad those days are behind me a little bit, but man, the muscle to be able to save money, you've got to have it if you're a business owner. To be able to grow. Like, I mean, it used to be $300,000 to open a, I used to get loans for that much now, which I know it's nothing compared to people up here, but if you're getting a $5 million loan, you still have to inject 20, 25%, even at 17 years in the business. So to be able to save cash is so important. That's just a super practical thing that I don't think we talk about enough. We don't talk about money, and I think it's really important for us to talk about that as business owners. I think for me, like, again, I think from the beginning, I never thought I knew the answers. Again, I knew so early on, like, what in the heck am I doing? Like, I don't know how to motivate people. I have these kids and I'm trying to get them to do stuff. And so, I mean, from the very beginning, I had to learn, and I had a hunger for learning. And I had probably a little bit of a chip on my shoulder since I didn't go to college. So I had to prove, that I could do it. And so at the beginning, those tools were free. I was reading books from the library. I was listening to free podcasts. But I've continued to have a hunger for learning and a hunger, for just being curious. And I think, man, to grow your business, like, you do have to know people. You have to have good accountants, bankers, all those things, So I'm thankful that those are tools in my tool belt, or the people that on my team now. Yeah, I think just remaining humble and teachable, there's no substitute for that as a business owner. Like, the second you think you know more than your employees, like, every answer to our problems, our employees have them. And I didn't always have that attitude, but I learned that very quickly. And so now, the tools that I have more money to invest in myself and more money to invest in my employees. So as your business grows, your tools can change. And I'm thankful for that. And just on a very practical term, if it's helpful, like, I've always been someone that on Sundays plans my week out. Like, I look ahead, what do I need to do? What's my week gonna look like? I mean, back in the day when I was a mom, I'm still a mom, but my kids are gone now. But, I had to do time blocking. I know it's so silly, but I still talk to my employees about that today, because everyone says there's not enough time. And it's like, let's look at this spreadsheet that has all 24 hours and all 7 days. Let's write things in. There's a lot of time, it's like, where are you going to invest your time and stuff like that. So there's really simple tools that I use that were so helpful. But I think a big one is just being kind of a passionate reader of leadership things, and always wanting to grow and learn.
I don't mean to get too personal with mine here, but one of the last decade of trying to get a business to work has felt like running into a concrete wall over and over again, trying to figure out why what I'm doing isn't working. And I'm very fortunate to have friends who tell me things I really don't want to hear. And one of the things that were told to me is, if you have trouble identifying the bottleneck in your business, it's probably you. I did not enjoy hearing that. But in that, I dove a little too deep, and I actually went against all of my Ukrainian roots and saw a psychiatrist, found out I have ADHD, and my poor staff have been subjected to working with me, unmedicated, unorganized, like a tornado, creating a mess for everybody. And I'm wondering why it's hard to get stuff done. So one of the best tools I found was actually looking at the man in the mirror. And this is all very fresh for me. I'm nowhere near, past anything. I'm still trying to figure it out. But it's given me some tools to identify, number one, what actually works for me. What habits, what methodologies can I use that have an impact? Number two, other people are probably different too, bozo. So it's forced me to kind of learn how my different team members communicate. Maybe some of them are more visual. Maybe others need to be inspired more than others. And maybe some of them, despite my own protests, work better from home one day a week, where I don't ruin their day and throw 50 more projects on their lap. So one of the best tools I've learned, aside from friends who speak harsh truths, are the tools you can give yourself by investing in your own mental health and learning how you function as a person.
One of the guiding principles that I have is I don't chase the grade. I let the grade speak for itself. My focus is the work, right? I have to learn. I have to build teams, to listen, and get everybody rowing in the same direction. And it's all about creating better experiences. And so if we do the work and we create increasing value through those better experiences, the grades like growth and profit and loyalty and trust and reputation, they kind of take care of themselves. And if you look at those grades and they're not where you want them to be, then you got more work to do. And to be honest, even if they're straight A's, you really have more work to do because there are people chasing you. You can't stand still. Hamster wheel is not it, because that sounds negative, but it's a flywheel. It's a perpetual motion of continuous improvement. And if you don't invest in yourself and the people that you've decided to work with, it's going to be really, really difficult. You have to be open-minded. You have to learn and adjust. One of the things that I had to learn is not be stubborn. For a long time, I wanted to be right, except right wasn't creating better experiences for the team or the guests. I can put something on the menu that I like and it never sells. I'm the best customer. It's a really bad business model. So just keep learning. Always be open-minded. There's always something else to learn. And the best place to learn from is other people.
Beautiful answers, everybody. I also suffered from wanting to be right as well and had to fall flat on my face with that and realize that you're right. Being right isn't the goal. Being a really good server to the community is the goal. So that's a good thing to remember. Okay, we're gonna highlight one of the answers, and I just want to read this out loud. It's at the bottom there, and I think we could kind of all marinate in this. Consistency, outreach with marketing, values that include integrity. My goal is my client's goal. This one, the panel mentioned, live below my means, don't over leverage. Bring in more than you spend. Live in the question. I don't know what that means. Panel, do you guys? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And education. So how many things is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things. Those are your marching orders, right? That's really great. So whoever did that, well done. Okay, next question. When you were just starting out, where did you feel the biggest gap in support or resources? What is one thing you wish you had known before opening your business? And I'd love to just make sure we tailor this. I had a impromptu business meeting with, I don't know if he's here, I doubt he is. David Barnes is trying to open a business. He bought the building that is the Avant Garden space in where the downtown, or where Clock Tower. Thank you for somebody knowing this that I did. Anyway, I had a little meeting with him last night. We went for an ice cream cone at the Yeti and saw him on his scooter, and he's bought this building, and he's got all these great ideas and a lot of things he has to do to invest in that space before it's going to be what he wants it to be. And it kind of ignited that, man, when we were just starting out, I was really protective of him. It was like, oh, I would love this guy not to waste his money on this or that, and he's got to make things ADA compliant. And I just like that conversation last night leading into this just got me in that space of thinking, here he is trying to get all the things done. And he's just in this place of starting out, and he has a gap in knowledge. He doesn't exactly, have the architect, and he's working with you, and he has to market, and he has to have a vibe, and there's all this stuff that he has to do, and a lot's on the line because he's got a lot of money invested, and you just don't want to see this go wrong for him. And so I think if the panel could answer that question as if you're talking to this young man, to say, what was a gap you had that you felt like could be supplied somehow? Like if you were talking to this guy saying, all right, don't invest in this, do invest in this. What's, just sort of come at it from that angle, if you guys don't mind. Does that make sense? Yeah. He's all, yeah, I'm going to go.
SEO and getting traffic to a business was my biggest gap starting out. And when you guys gave us these questions before, it came back because I'm like in the trenches of revisiting this with AI now, where it's not that there's not enough resources. There's a world of resources, but they seem to be changing every day. The target is moving. And if you just know that one guru who just knows how to navigate it and guide you through the rough waters, I think that for me has always been and continues to be a gap, despite there being resources, which there are several here today, by the way, I will mention, who know how to navigate this thing. But if I had known how to find the person who can help me navigate it, that saved me so much.
So what I'm hearing is the gap in being able to find the right person, so you didn't have to like throw a bunch of money at a bunch of different solutions, that you would just be able to like lock in on being able to get that foot traffic.
Exactly right. Finding the, not gatekeeper, but the guide. There's somebody local, there's somebody here in Auburn who probably knows a lot about just about every topic. It's finding that person who can make you circumvent the whole process of hiring an agency to give you a boilerplate answer for SEO that may have worked 6 months ago, but Facebook changed one thing in their algorithm, and now all of that's worthless.
Yeah.
Just, the key holder.
One thing that I wish I would have known, earlier on, which I think is applicable to all business now, but it's never going to be less expensive to open a business. Like back in the day, it was so much cheaper to open Dutch Bros than it is now. Like I wish I would have kind of just gone for it. And I took a lot of risks, but the beginning was way more calculated. We were way more cautious. And that's when it was $600,000, not $2 million to open a store. So I just think a lot of times we think maybe there'll be a better time, or maybe the economy will be better, or whatever. And every business is different. Like my business is somewhat economy proof, so I don't want to claim that all are. But that is one thing I honestly wish I would have known. Like it's gotten harder to get money. It's everything. It feels harder to, even for me at 17, 18, and it feels very hard to grow right now. But that's just my experience. But
did you have the resources like financially? Like could you have, right? If you would have known then what you know now, right? The financing for going big early, how did you bridge the gap in terms of being able to get yourself the money you needed back then?
yeah, some of it's, I actually meet with new entrepreneurs. It's something I'm passionate about, especially female entrepreneurs. But the reality is, even one of my employees opened a coffee shop in Auburn, my previous employee. We were talking to him, and some of it's just the reality. He can't get a small business loan because he doesn't have 2 years of business. Like some things are just reality, and that's tough, and that's why I didn't open another store sooner. I had to have 2 years to get more money. And unless you're going to, there is private money. Again, there's a lot of different avenues. But yeah, so I did it the old school way. I had to wait. I had to save. I had to do things. But there was points in time when I could have put the pedal to the metal a little more. And I wish I would have. I wish I would have opened more sooner. But, everything happens for a reason. But to that person, about what to do with that building, which that is is that person here? I don't know who that person is.
No, I don't see him.
I mean, I want to do something. But it's a fabulous location. I mean, again, I say talk to people, talk to smart people, talk to people in that whatever business it is you want to do. You know, there's resources out there. I think for me, when I was starting out, the biggest gap was number one, I didn't really feel like I had time. Like, I know the chamber was here. I mean, I was out on 49, so maybe not. I mean, I don't even know what was available, but you know, when you're starting a business, you have a family, you are working, like we were still working, you know, another job and stuff like that. Like, how you invest your time is super important, you know, so you've got to make sure, you know, those little pockets of time you have has a good return on your investment. So, I don't know. I didn't feel a lot of support back then, a lot of resources. I didn't have friends really that were entrepreneurs back then. I definitely sought that out over the years. But I think there is that support now, and there are those resources. So it sounds like that person's connected because they were having lunch with you. So that's great. And I encourage all people to do that. Again, like, don't get in a silo. Like, reach out to people. Know that people that have been in business in Auburn for a long time, they care. I've never really had anyone ask me for my time that I've said no to. And I don't say yes very often, but the right people, I'm 100% would drop everything for and talk to them. But yeah, reach out. But I also think, again, up there.
I'm going to go back to the first company that we started, and I wish I would have had the foresight. You know, first and foremost, if you're starting a new business, you need to ask yourself, what does the market want or need? You know, too many times restaurants have the highest failure rate for a reason, because somebody decides they want to open a Mexican food restaurant because grandma's got a great enchilada recipe, but there's 8 other Mexican food restaurants within a half a mile. So that's the first thing, is you really got to know the market. What's the market need? There was no sports bar in Auburn. There was my drive there. Being passionate. You hear this a lot. You have to be passionate about what you own and what you're selling. If you're not willing to go out and sell it yourself, then you should think twice. My business partner and I didn't want to sell staffing. Staffing was a commodity, and there was no way to differentiate yourself from another staffing company. So that wasn't there. And then the last thing is kind of focusing on core competencies. Some part of that business you need to know really well. You don't need to know all of it really well, but you need to know something well, one major component. And again, hire people that have the other competencies that you don't have in order to be successful.
I do want to respond to something that's up on this screen. Not knowing where to go for help, even after purchasing an established business, everyone seems to know each other during meetings or get-togethers, and it's tough to integrate myself when it seems closed off to newcomers. I invite this person to come to the Economic Development Commission meeting. We will be your friend. Yeah, right? My name is Natalie, and I'm your new friend. And I would love for you to come in. We'll give you a few minutes to tell us about what you're doing, and you'll have people just right away try to get you networked and be a friend to you. So there's that. Sign up. Thank you. Sign up for, raise your hand if you've done Leadership Auburn.
2010, best class ever.
There's an idea, right? Do it. There's always one. Okay, next question. Wait.
Can I
sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to just say a couple things about this.
You've got the floor.
So when we became customers of Old Town Pizza probably in early 2000. They opened their doors on July 20th, 1999. We discovered them because of this obnoxious snoring guy. We were coming down from Afalanis. It used to be above Old Town Pizza in Old Town. And we got to know the owners, and we loved the place. And it had it all for us. I was always looking for a better experience, not just a better pizza. To be honest, I've never had a pizza I didn't like. Hence how large I am. But Old Town Pizza had this cool daylight basement. It had beautiful decor on the walls. It was full service. Didn't have to order at the counter. It provided everything that I was looking for in a dining experience. And so when in early 2002, the owners, Brian and Maureen Hayes, would always come to the table and say hi and thanks for coming. And they said, hey, guess what? We're selling the business. The timing couldn't have been more perfect, except I didn't have the money. Or I didn't have enough money. But I had mom and dad. And I went to mom and dad and said, hey, I need some money to buy this pizza parlor. And they go, what do you know about pizza? So I know I really like it. And I know that this place provides a much better overall dining experience than other places that are providing really good pizza. And they said, okay. And I was still short. I didn't have enough money. And I was working for this company, Sykes Enterprises. They were headquartered out of Tampa, Florida, and I was living here. And I had to get on a plane every Monday and work Monday through Friday out of town in Florida or across the country, and I was only home on weekends. And I was telling my boss at Sykes Enterprises that this company was available, and I was short $75,000. And he goes, I have $75,000. I'll invest in your company. And here I'm working for him, right? And maybe he's trying to get rid of me. So that $75,000 gave me enough money to buy the restaurant. And so when I mentioned to Brian that we wanted to buy it, he said, oh no, you don't know anything about the restaurant business. And I said, well, let's put it in escrow. I'll work for you for 9 months. You teach me everything there is to know about it. And if you're happy and I'm happy, we'll close the deal and you'll own the restaurant. So on November 2nd, 2002, we became the owners of Old Town Pizza. And the connecting people and getting people on the same page, thinking about how to improve experiences is the key. That is the key. You can be short money, but you can find it if you've built relationships over time and to a point where people believe in you, right? And then you have integrity and you don't let them down. And that works. And then if in fact you do let them down, it's a rarity. Generally they have grace. They either help you get back on your feet or they lead you to resources that you need in order to get back on your feet and you start again. So just never give up.
Pretty motivational. Yeah, right? That's pretty motivational right there. Okay, we're going to move this little thing along here. This question panel section is going to go on for like another 10 minutes, and then we're going to switch and want to hear a little bit from you guys. We have some questions specifically for the audience, and so hang on with us. This is going to take a turn here in about 10 minutes, but we're going to keep, oh, wait. Oh, no more questions for you. Okay. Unless the audience has questions. No more questions for you.
Natalie, can I just add one thing?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. How we treat our customers is everything. You know, I feel like Reese kind of just touched on that, but as business owners, I mean, number one, how we treat our employees, like we're silly if we think it doesn't trickle down, you know, so first and foremost, how we treat our employees is everything. And secondly, like, there's just no chance you're going to run a successful business if your customers don't feel like they sign your paycheck. And I think it's old school, but I think it's still so important. And so it's just the basics, but I'm still shocked at places I go and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want to like train that cute little person, you know, like it shocks me when I don't experience that in business. So it's just that, to me, that's been the success of my business. Is that, I mean, our goal is every customer leaves feeling better than they came. And like Reese said, like we make mistakes, we make drinks wrong, we make pizzas wrong, we do all those things. But when the customers know we care, they forgive us. They don't bash us on Chit Chat Auburn or whatever. And sometimes they do. But then Auburn comes to our rescue and stuff like that. But it's just like there's no substitute for excellent customer service.
Speaking of ways to support each other, if you love a business, I would love for you to give them a fantastic Google review. Right? Can you guys nod your head if you can do that? That helps us out. Do you guys agree? Right? You want those Google reviews. You need those Google reviews. There's other avenues, obviously, that matter as well. Are we still able to ask the audience for questions? Or okay, we are. Okay, here we go.
Mark, Medical Director, Auburn Medical Group. My question regards serial entrepreneurship. I think Ken probably is the most guilty of this. How do you reach that point where you can give enough attention to a new enterprise without sacrificing the old? Or is there some magic formula for getting those key people that you replace yourself with in the different businesses?
I'd say I'm still trying to figure that out. No, like I said earlier, for me, I still have a couple. My wife will tell you I'm a deal junkie. I can't stop buying businesses. I just love it, and I'm passionate about it. But like I said, putting my interests behind all my people is a big part of that. But yeah, seeking and finding expertise that matches your own. Like I was in banking for 20 years, so nobody knows accounting and finance like I do. But I didn't know restaurants. So my general manager Joe, who worked with me on some projects, he's a chef and he worked in plenty of restaurants. And so you really have to find, and you can make mistakes. There's no issues there. Mistakes get made in hiring, but you have to have. In each of those business, you have to have somebody who's passionate about that product or service. And if you find that passion, you can train them up. They don't have to be the perfect person. They don't have to be a degree. They don't have to be anything. They just have to be passionate and willing to learn. And then you can work and mold those people into the people that you want them to be, which is great leaders, which, as she said earlier, trickles down to the employees and comes out to your customers.
I was nodding. Happy with that answer? Okay, another question for the audience? Old people. I know you have questions. All right, here we go.
Are we missing when it comes to hiring a way to help the younger generation understand customer service? Because I noticed that's the biggest thing in training is they don't know how to talk to people. They don't know how to make eye contact. They don't know what to say when someone says, "How's your day?" and how to follow up with that. Is there any resource for them in Auburn that I am unaware of to help train them to understand that as a whole?
I'm sure there's a lot of young people like I do, but I mean, number one, I'm not hiring for that. I'm hiring for kids that are teachable and have great attitudes, because then they're going to be willing to learn, and so there's kids that come to us that don't have those skills. I don't think my kids had those skills when they started working at Dutch Bros, but they had other things that I was looking, so you're looking for maybe different things. Teach that to them, but it's just real. They don't all have that, and so you have to be patient. You have to be willing to invest in them. And I do honestly think a field trip to a business that's doing it well is a great idea, so they can see it. See eye contact, and it's just real. The times have changed. You have to teach it.
It's the same that we're in the hospitality business, and you have to be hospitable, right? You have to look people in the eye, and you have to smile, and you have to listen to them, and then you have to participate in creating a great experience. So when I go into your place for breakfast, it's great. the people that are there are hustle and they're friendly and there's a sense of urgency because part of a great experience is not wasting your time or mine. Right? Now, sometimes I probably stay longer than I should, but then that's cool too, right? How many, refills of coffee can I get? And, but I don't know if this was your question or not. Is there a place where they can specifically learn hospitality? There are hospitality college programs in the country. I don't know too many that are close, or any really that are close. I've been working with William Jessup trying to get them to start a hospitality program. I don't know if I don't know how it's going, but I'm not going to give up. So I think being persistent is also important. I don't think hospitality is taught in high school. So one of the things that Dawn, wife Dawn here, that runs Old Town Pizza now actually, she allowed me to retire and do stuff like this. We've been thinking about working with a coach that we have of creating a hospitality lab. So creating our own hospitality school, still in the infant stages, but we've been probably trying to work on. We probably got 6 months in of time trying to figure out how to launch that. Our new location in Roseville is so big, we have space that we could probably use for that. How to get the word out, how to get people in, and exactly what that curriculum looks like still needs to be figured out.
There's a book called Customer Service the Walt Disney Way, and it's super thin, so it's easy to read. And you don't necessarily have to have all the kids read it. Make no bones about it. Managing this youngest generation is difficult on a number of ways, not just the eye contact, but what motivates them. That they're not necessarily motivated for the American dream to buy a house in 20 years necessarily. So it's a big challenge, and you just honestly have to just keep switching up your thought process and giving them stuff that they can digest. And Disneyland is a great reference because everybody knows it, and it's one of the most successful businesses in the world.
Valued, being respected, and we can't delegate that to anyone. They have to feel that from the top. And so, I mean, from my experience, like that's the number one question I'm always asked. How do you find such a same? Because I feel like his business is incredible in that as well. But I mean, I've lost my train of thought by saying that. But yeah.
I went to a conference over the weekend for USA Gymnastics in Arizona, and they did a lot to talk to us about this exact thing because our industry hires people from 14 up. And one of the things that one of the speakers told me, and I'm just going to throw that out there, is that this generation can't necessarily buy a house. So they're not working for the same reasons that I was working and grinding. They're working to be significant, to feel significant. And so I think as employers, we have to address that. They're coming to work and they want to feel significant because they're not just grinding to get the money, they're grinding to feel important. So you have to address that as an employer. I'm just regurgitating that. There's some science behind it and I don't have that in front of me. Okay, I'm gonna hand this over, I think, later. I'm gonna hand this over to Melissa and she's going to do the next segment.
Okay, so this is where we need your guys' input or it won't work. So this is audience questions. And please, if you're probably thinking it, don't be shy. Someone else is probably thinking it, but if they're simple questions. What are your biggest challenges in your business right now in Auburn? What are you personally struggling with? And would you be willing to stand up and share with the group? And then give us your name and what business you own.
Catherine Gonzalez, Dancing Dog Productions, and the California Club in Old Town. Anyway, I think my biggest challenge is finding staff, period, that you can even hire. I look at you guys with your 250 people, and I'm just trying to find 6. And it is a challenge because nobody's on time, nobody can write and fill out an application. But I'm also looking for someone, you know, at a very entry level position as well, right? So you're getting, and I've done a lot of Confluence interns, but finding someone to show up and continue to show up has been my biggest challenge. And our industry is tough because we're, you know, manufacturing, for the lack of a better term, things out in a hot warehouse sometimes. But that's my biggest challenge.
So on that challenge, does anyone have a suggestion or can relate or wants to add to that panel? Where do you advertise, panelists, to find your employees? Indeed? What's another tool? Shaking your head, does everyone use Indeed? Oh.
So I think we found our best employees as siblings of existing employees. Also, our employees refer their friends to us. And we have a referral bonus program and things like that. Indeed, of course. And then whatever Don just launched some new program to get applicants that I have no idea what it is.
And we'll be hearing from Dawn. So as we continue to grow and as the cost of labor continues to be the largest expense challenge to a profitable business, we know that we have to adopt technology. And we have been searching for HR support for recruiting and hiring for about a year and a half. We tried to develop stuff internally. That didn't really work. We tried to work with our business coach. That didn't work out. But we learned stuff through failure. And we found a vendor that it's Landed is the name of the company. And it's not so much, it's using technology. It's a database type system where they go out and they do our job postings and they use the power of AI to respond immediately when an applicant applies. There's an AI-driven text service where they are instantly going through, reviewing the resume against our qualifications that are required, and they're doing all of our pre-screening for us, and they're setting up the interview appointments. So our managers have just set aside blocks of time, and that has saved us hours and hours and hours of work of our managers reviewing all the resumes, reviewing the candidates, and also it's getting to that person who's out looking for a job and who's applied for 25 jobs, and within minutes of applying, we've got an appointment set for an interview. And we launched this program last Friday, middle of the day Friday, and by Monday morning, I had 500 applicants. And so I was like, all right, I think we've found a technological solution to help us with this. And so it's trial and error, trial and error, trial and error, but embracing parts of technology that work for us, but still giving it a personal touch, right? I never want to be completely robotic because that experience of the employee working for our company is just as important as the experience our customer receives. Part of our mission statement to make Old Town Pizza a great place to work. And so we just got to figure it out. And trust me, we've been through all the same things you guys have been. All right, it's a new generation. I'm 3 generations away from the people we're hiring. So yeah, I'm old for them.
What's the name of it? Landon. And Landed. So landed, like I landed my plane. I will say in my past life, I worked for employment law for 10 years at Holden Law Group, and all we did was defend employers. So kudos to you. The regulations in California on employers is a joke. You have to be wage and hour experts. You didn't realize that, right? Now you're doing mathematicals and it can literally put you under. I will say in the 10 years that I worked there, the best companies that held the retention of their employees, they had their handbook done. They had things in order that helped the employees feel like they were working in a space that had their stuff together. And it created a better environment. And you think, oh my, that dang handbook. And I know they can be costly, but it's surprising. Like when you have those ducks in a row and they show up and you have, you're able to sit down with them and have your orientation and show that you got your stuff together, they reciprocate by getting their stuff together. And so it's kind of a reflection, and I just want to note, in the 10 years that I did it, all different industries, shapes, and sizes, and the ones who had the highest retention, the lowest workers' comp, and all those things, they had a great environment, and employees were more loyal. But I will say no good deed goes unpunished. As an employer, it's the one you bend over backwards for that can also bite you. And never, ever give... if you get a request for records and you think, no way, this employee was so lame, look at how well I documented, and here you go, plaintiff, take a hike. And they open it and they look at your paycheck stub and you don't have the 11 points on there and now you're in a wage. So just get help. Just in my 10 years, that's my spiel. Don't ever give any records to anybody without talking to somebody first, even if you think you got it perfect. Because those plaintiff attorneys are terrible.
Okay, I have an idea for Dancing Dog. I think I was just talking to one of them young people I was talking to. He wants to create a t-shirt line. I mean, he wants to be in fashion. But I'm saying to find someone that has a passion that lines with your business. Like, hey, like looking for someone that has an interest in this, I'll let you have this many hours on the machines, this is your bonus, like finding someone that aligns with your business, but that's their passion. That's my only idea.
I have a quick butt in here. I'm not a titan of industry. I don't have 250 employees. I have 8. All right, so take everything you say with a grain of salt here. But I met with a business coach last year, and I was running into this constantly, and he restructured how we see interviews, and we would always get 100 applicants. 90 of them would never even show up. The 10 that would show up, 7 of them don't even know what their last name is. It was crazy. And so he had us restructure our interview questions not to be around the technical competencies of the job, but the intangibles that AI wouldn't fill in for them on ChatGPT that are about their commitment, their leadership skills, those things that you need someone to have, and somebody who has those would thrive in the position. Maybe it's autonomy or self-direction. That's what we've been interviewing for, and I'll say the last 2 hires we've had been phenomenal, but this is a very small sample size. So take it with a grain of salt, but restructuring what you're interviewing for has made a big difference for us.
Anyone else? Challenges. Oh, never mind. So number 2. So, pardon me. Remember here. Look at my notes. Okay. What tools anyone else have any other challenges? Okay. I know you guys have a ton of them, but you're being shy. Okay. So what are the tools in your business that you can't live without? You can't live without it. Use it every day. It helps you in your business.
I am a Claude enthusiast. Have y'all heard of Claude? So the thing I really love most about Claude is I can set up my projects. So I have 5 different businesses, and each business has its own project folder. And so now every time I go to that business, I go to the project folder, and it knows my tone. It knows my issues. It knows what I'm trying to, what I deem as successful. And so each business, right, has a different success rate. It has a different assessment, and Claude keeps that organized for me. And so if I need to type up an email from Kidsapalooza, it knows that tone. It knows who I'm attracting. And so I just feel like, and now I've been able to develop agents, to your point about Landed, I've developed my own agents that will answer the emails for Kidsapalooza with the correct answers in the tone that I would address. And so setting up what's called agents in AI, and especially in Claude, I love Perplexity as well, but especially in Claude, setting up those projects and those agents has alleviated 30 hours of my work week. And it's been huge. Like now I opened up 2 more businesses since I met Claude. Like that's my person or technology.
I like Claude too. It's amazing. Anyone else? What tools? I know you guys are being shy in this audience. I'll come to you, Candace.
I feel like the tool I can't live without is you guys, right? The people that motivate me, right? If we want to be millionaires, we got to hang out with millionaires. If you want to be an energetic, motivated, on fire business owner, you better hang out with other people who feel the same way. I can't live without this sort of motivation. I can't live without trying to help the next person. I can't live without, if I'm going to grow my business and if I'm going to hire and be vivacious and make sure that people want to come work with me, I've got to get you guys to help me do that. So when I'm thinking of what I can't live without, it's the relationships.
All right, that's kind of a topper. I was going to beat that one.
Been said several times tonight, but you have to have passion for whatever you're doing. And if you continue to have that passion, it makes it way easier. I'm sorry, Mike Carson with Gold Hill Gardens.
Passion. So we have passion, Claude, each other. Okay, landed. So we've got 4. I know there's more tools or we'd all be broke.
It's going to be boring, but before AI is actually my favorite tool right now. But before AI, it was Excel spreadsheets. I find that time is so precious. There's only so much of it. We have to invest it wisely. This couple hours tonight, you're never getting back, right? So I hope you enjoyed yourself. So any tool that keeps you organized and focused is a good tool. That assumes that you're organized and focused on the right things, but that's where passion comes in, right? Your passion will keep you focused on the right things, and now you have to stay organized and invest your time wisely. And so Excel and Word and all of those tools that have existed for a long time that are sort of getting replaced by AI. AI is just a little better, maybe a lot better. And so it's been fun to learn those new tools.
I think 3 of us up here have mentioned it, but I just want to highlight, like, we've all have business coaches. And I think that's been a huge game changer for me, is allowing yourself to be seen by someone else in a very, I mean, I had my coaching session this morning. It was brutal, you know, like, but it's someone, I mean, in a good way. Like, we need people to be calling us to a higher level and people speaking truth to us that have no connection whatsoever, you know, like it's not my friends or whatever. So I just think for me, that's been such a huge catalyst for growth. And I heard 2 other people say it. So I think it's important to mention that having a coach. And there's, you know, my girlfriend found out her health insurance pays for her to have a coach, a life coach. So like, I mean, I'm like, I'm going to start looking at that. But so it feels something like I would have never thought I could afford it. But check your health insurance. Maybe they'll support, you know, like pay for you to have a life coach. But I think there's different ways to do it. Maybe not to the extent that I do, but I think it's invaluable.
So I think the most valuable tool I found, although I love that and I love that and I love that too because I have a coach too, is industry-specific software to help run your business. Try to get away from the paper. Try to just do it all in your computer. Have your software automatically alert your customers as to, you know, everything that's happening. One of the best things we did in Dancing Dog was institute a software that texted them every time their order went into a different part of the shop. And yeah, that is the best thing.
I would say social media. I'm Lily. I own Moonwalk Threads in downtown Auburn. Social media is definitely one of like the biggest ways that we reach outside of Auburn, but mainly like in Auburn too. If we don't post on social media, you see it in our numbers. We're slow that week. So I just want to say that because I haven't been said yet, but social media.
Social media. Yes. Yeah, and you gotta hold up your purse. Okay, so she has new custom purses that come directly from Italy. She went down a rabbit hole and developed a relationship with an Italian woman who was like, forget the fees. I got a side hustle. She has a one-on-one, am I saying it right? A one-on-one relationship with the manufacturer in Italy. She designed them herself, and you can go into her store and you can buy them today. Can you hold that purse up just to show? So just in terms of hustle, relationships, innovation, all of those things, a young person who's being bold and brave to start that new business and then get out there, Lily, pretty awesome, pretty awesome. Anyone else? What tools? Lily, they didn't hear you, honey. Got to talk it loud.
I own Moonwalk Threads. We're in downtown Auburn, right behind Old Town Pizza. We're neighbors with Reese. So that's where you can find us. We're in a little tin shed. You've probably seen us on the hill. But yeah, so we work as a buy-sell trade. I sell mostly 90s and 2000s clothes, which is crazy to say it's vintage, but 20 years.
And my niece comes from Sacramento to shop at her store. So it's one of those ones, people come to Auburn just to visit Lily and buy her clothes there. The vintage, if you're not, is pretty awesome and hot in Auburn right now. Anyone else? What tools do you use in your business that you can't live without? No other tools. Everybody uses the same tools. You guys, I know there's somebody. What tools, Aaron?
I mean, I'll piggyback off. Oh, sorry, I'm Aaron, North Fork Deli. Something he said earlier about mental health is self. So if we don't take care of ourselves and keep ourselves in a space where we can really, so yeah.
Aaron's awesome because his wife's awesome. Just kidding, Aaron. At North Fork Deli, it's amazing. Their protein waffles. Oh my gosh, vanilla protein waffles to die for. So the next town hall that we're going to have is October 13th. And this one's going to focus on social investment, nonprofit organizations, and how we can socially be involved here, have some skin in the game in our community. We do have one of the largest nonprofit communities for our size. We're all giving people, so that will be the next one that we'll be focusing on. And then Colleen will be on the panel. Does Colleen know that she's going to be on the panel? All right, woo! She is now. So before I turn this over, I do want to see, is there any final questions or comments that you have for the panelists or anyone in this room? Something maybe you want to say. I don't know if you guys ever did this with your kids. You're on your way back from a trip and you're like, what was your highlight? What was your high point and your low point? Have you ever done that with your kids? And what you think was their high point is not. And what was your high point was not theirs. And what their low, it's really, really cool if you ever just open in that question, because it's pretty surprising what will come back. So do you have any high or low points? Does anybody want to comment or contribute to the group in any way? Okay, everyone needs a cocktail. All right, Scott.
Yeah, my name is Scott Arfston. And the thing I like is a camaraderie, because we all have friends that are outside of business and they work for a company or something, and they say things like, oh, it'll never work. And it's like, I think of Walt Disney, right? He went bankrupt 7 times. You mentioned his great thing. And everybody loves Walt Disney. Oh, this is great. Well, it was how many years in the making? But you really have to filter out the noise. So this kind of thing where everybody helps each other is pretty awesome. And years ago, I tried to start this Auburn Technology Incubator where everybody works together and all that stuff. And it was an interesting concept, but if you can get people together and the struggles become energizing, I think this is awesome. So maybe this keeps going in some form or fashion.
My highlight tonight.
October 13th.
I have to reiterate the situation here because this was brilliant marketing. And I just noticed when I went to look at it that the chocolate chip cookie, vegan and gluten-free, is from the Nectar Cafe. Way to partner, right? This cute little invitation that came with it is escape room sneak peek immediately following tonight. So you guys can jet over there. Thank you so much for bringing this. It's so cute. If you need a good marketing idea, come up with creative stuff like this because it's fantastic. You want to say anything? This was my highlight. She came in with these and I was like, she's brilliant. This is brilliant.
I come from the entertainment industry, so I am not afraid of entertaining people. That is what I do. I had a traveling trick dog show for 16 years where I traveled the country with a group of dogs I rescued from the shelter and trained how to do tricks. But anyway, I have a unique ability to promote anybody's business in my escape room, and I will tell you a couple of the ways I'm doing that right now. I have boxes in my escape rooms that people are trying to get into. They're working for 10, 15 minutes to get into a locked box. When they open it, there's maybe a clue to get somewhere else. I can put product placement in those boxes. If you give me $5 off of ice cream or coffee or whatever your business is, I can put that in there. I have a Witch's Kitchen themed room, and right now I have the Hillmont's mug zip tied to the cabinet. I would love to put a pizza box in there as well. I'm pretty sure I'm creative enough to figure out any of your businesses, how they can work with me. I gave you all of you guys my phone numbers on the piece of paper, and I would love for you guys to reach out with me, and let's do this together. Let's really work together. Let's do this.
Love it.
Collaboration. One more quick goodbye from our panelists, and we'll wrap it up here.
So I love this. This was great. I'm glad that all of you came. I love these town halls. The first one I heard was really great. I've enjoyed this one, and I'm looking forward to attending the next one.
I think we're all in this room because we're entrepreneurs or had a vision, and I want to remind everybody that's absolutely one of the hardest things you could possibly do with your life. At least for me, it definitely is. And the only reason I'm here is because of the generosity of others to bring me to something like this and immerse me in an environment of people who are like-minded, and actually it's helped me tremendously. So I would say that if you're in the same situation and you know somebody who might be running their own business who could benefit from something like this, give back, bring a friend next time who might just be in that tunnel vision and need that extra little push to get through to the other side.
I want to end where we started, and it was your video of that lady crossing the finish line, everyone cheering. Like, my vision for businesses in Auburn is that businesses would feel that love from their communities. And I don't honestly think they do. And I think it's a really hard time to be a business owner. And I think I wrote down several times, like, I want to take that responsibility myself to thank people and to, like, go to businesses and be more. I think every business, I mean, I think that's City of Auburn, I mean, whoever it is, but like every single business in town should know their value, just like my employees want. That's what businesses want. They want to know they're valued and that they're appreciated. And I think I want to take that responsibility, partially on myself, but I think that's what my vision for businesses in Auburn. I want them to feel cheered for, and not by just the city, but by the community and by fellow businesses. So that's kind of what I've been inspired with today, and that's kind of my hope that that all businesses, if it's the big ones, I feel like I hear a lot about the big businesses, but I want the new Thai restaurant that just opened up to feel like we freaking love them and we're stoked they're there. So I think that's a good challenge for all of us.
You had to say the Thai food place. Okay, so the Thai food place is awesome. And they used to own Thai Basil, which was my favorite Thai food place, so super stoked that they're in town. This whole event just reiterates why we love Auburn, because people care, and people are open to sharing, and you're all here because you want to be exposed to new things, you want to learn. We're here because we learn from you as well and want to teach, so congratulations and thanks for putting this on.
Google reviews, 5-star Google reviews. I'm challenging you. If you love the burger, you've been there a lot of times, give them a Google review. Think about the business you went to today that you didn't review. 5 stars, specific services and things that you love. Mention the word Auburn. Help the robots, help people find our businesses. Thanks, guys.